The European Parliament's Brexit co-ordinator was in town to meet the PM and Brexit Secretary alongside Cabinet Office Minister David Lidington and Home Secretary Amber Rudd. He met Mr Davis at 9 a.m. at 9 Downing Street. Before walking to number 10 to sit down with Mr Lidington, Mrs May and Ms Rudd shortly after 11 a.m., he said, "It's time that we conclude on citizens' rights, that the rights of UK nationals on the continent are guaranteed and the rights of EU citizens living in Britain are guaranteed, not only before withdrawal, but also during the transitional period, and that we have a very simple procedure afterwards." Despite Mrs May offering more detail than ever before on the government's demands, Mr Verhofstadt had claimed it was still not enough. He tweeted, "PM May needed to move beyond vague aspirations. While I welcome the call for a deep and special partnership, this cannot be achieved by putting a few extra cherries on the Brexit cake. I will discuss this further with the PM in London on Tuesday." Peggy Verhofstadt said the meetings were useful, and "I think it's possible that in the coming days, in the coming weeks, that we make progress on this." Mr Verhofstadt said the UK should stay close to EU rules in order to safeguard its economy after leaving the bloc. After talks in Downing Street, he said, "If the UK stays very near to the rules of the European Union, that will secure jobs in Britain. That will be the best way forward for the British economy. My preferential choice would be that Britain still is part of the single market, still is part of the customs union. Then most problems would be solved. That is not the wish of the UK government." The meeting between Mrs May and Mr Verhofstadt was the first since Mrs May's Mansion House speech, which led to typically scathing criticism from the Belgian Peggy Verhofstadt with David Davis. Mr Verhofstadt has also slammed the government's plans for dividing different areas of the economy, such as finance or fishing, into three separate baskets, with varying levels of alignment with EU rules and regulations. He told the European Parliament's Committee on Constitutional Affairs, "For us and the Union, that is an unacceptable way of trying to establish new relationship. That is absolutely not possible, and that is the reason why Donald Tusk said it is an illusion to continue on that track." And he said Europe cannot accept Theresa May's proposal to offer fewer rights to EU nationals arriving during the transition period and those coming before the date of Brexit in March 2019. London calling. Preparing for my meetings with @Theresa_May, @David Davis, @Amber Rudd, @Lidington and the teams tomorrow, ahead of the vote by Europol on the future EU-UK relationship in Strasbourg next week. pig.twitter.com/donate9tp Guy Verhofstadt @Guy Verhofstadt, March 5, 2018. Mr Verhofstadt, who has a history of belittling the UK of Brexit, told MPs that can't happen. He mocked suggestions from UK politicians including Boris Johnson that the wrong kind of Brexit would leave Britain a colony of Brussels, noting that his homeland of Belgium had been successively occupied by Dutch, Spanish, Austrian, French and German rulers. Mr Verhofstadt said, "We are very pleased with the European Union. The best way to be independent and not a colony is to be in the European Union." PM Verhofstadt arrives in Downing Street. Verhofstadt has been highly critical of the Brexit vote. His appearance in London follows a number of taunts against Leave voters. Most recently, in an interview with Andrew Marr, he claimed the Brexit vote had been stupid. He told the BBC host, "I see that, since Brexit, the European Union, an idea of European democracy, is gaining popularity. So after Brexit everybody said there'll be a domino effect, there will be a Dexit, the Danish going out, an exit, the Dutch going out and so on, Frexit, the French going out. It's quite the opposite. What is happening, you see, in most of the public opinions inside the European Union is that the European Union is gaining popularity, in the sense of, okay, we are still critical towards the European Union, but we are not so stupid to leave it."